Hello, Kumu here, and I thought of this joke probably a few days ago, but hello, you cool coders. Okay, enough joking around. So, last time I talked about variables and the if statement, including else if and else, and today I want to talk about list and dictionaries and a for keyword, as in for loops. Um, which is also another compound statement or statements if you're reading. I don't know how to read. Tell me. No, I'm joking. I know how to read better than I can spell, sadly. So I am gonna make a new file, and I'm gonna call it for with a zero, just so there's no interloping, or not interloping, but any interaction with any built-in. So it's completely unique. Um, so we're gonna talk about. I'm just gonna make a few things real quick of a list and a dictionary. And so first things first, there's lists and dictionaries. They serve two different purposes. Lists can contain a whole bunch of different strings, booleans, integers. It can even contain lists themselves, which is called a nested list. For dictionaries, they have a keyword and then a variable, or think of key and item, I should say. So I am going to start with lists. Um, so you can just add stuff into a list. So like I can add, let's do hello and bold. And I may switch between semicolon, oh, not semicolon, single quotes and double quotes. Forgive me, I'm not proper. You can also append objects to a list using the append function that are part of lists. Um, so if I want to append hello again, not that spelling, come on, work with me. And then if I print the variable list and I print the variable, in this case dictionary, and then I need to change this back to current file. If I click run, you'll see the list and dictionary. Dictionary is empty. And for the dictionary, it's a different way of adding the basically key and items to it. Um, so for this, I can do an integer or a string. There's not much else I've gone into it, so if I'm missing a few things, uh, let me know. Um, but you'll probably find out a lot more things than I can a lot quicker. Um, so I'm just gonna keep it simple right now. I'm just gonna do A, and then I do need to do a colon. I believe it's a colon, if I'm getting all my terminology. Semicolon, colon. Yes, okay, this is colon. And then I can do another value. It can either be an integer, could be a string, it could be a dictionary, or a list. So, and a boolean. In this case, I'm just going to make it A for A. And then you can also append things to a dictionary, but you have to do it in a different way. You'll have to do square brackets, and then you have to give it a key. And in this case, I'm going to do B, and then I have to add the value. So add B. Um, oh, I have oh, that's an S, not a C. So when I click run on this file this time, you'll see I have AABB for the dictionary, and we still have the original hello world and hello again. So what I want to go into is the for loop now, a way to add a bunch of information to a list or a dictionary using a for loop, which the best example always for a for loop is using not x in range. Come on, hands, work with me. Uh, so if I do print on x, what this is doing, uh, running this loop 10 times. Oops, excuse me there. That was unexpected. So what it will do is it will print x, oh, sorry. What is x on first loop, which would be a 0, um, since the range object makes a list, or in a sense, not a list, but it creates um, a sequence, as it says right here, since I'm highlighting it. So it creates an object that can be iterated through, that X will take one of the objects, which is going to start with the first object, go to the next, then go to the next. So when I click run, you'll see 0, 1, 2 to 9. I can also modify X with like 1. So it's going to start 1 through 10. So you can also do that. And in case for like for loops for dictionaries, um, I'm gonna do, let's say, variable, or I should say list object in this case, but in, which is another keyword for talking about getting objects from a list or a dictionary, or a object that can grab objects, I believe. Don't quote me. Um, so in this case, for a, a list object, which is the variable that is going to be used to take this object, and we're going to use it or modify the information as needed. So in this list, we have, let's see, right now 3 objects. So the length is 3. So it will repeat this action 3 times. And then first things first, I'm just going to print each thing and I'll modify afterwards. So if I run it, you'll see hello world, or hello, then hello again. And then for the dictionary, I'm going to say dictionary object, or dic object. Ha ha ha, what? But in this case, I can't just oh my god, I'm getting tongue-tied. Iterate through each object because of how a dictionary works, but I have not tested this, so I don't know exactly how this will work. Okay, so it just grabs the first keys of each object. So if you want to get both object, so if you want to get A, then A, you'll need to use what's called a item function from the dictionary, which will separate into 2 different objects, which the first one is going to be the key, and the second one is going to be the item. So now we have a dictionary key and the dictionary item. And then if I print this, it will do the exact same thing since we have a length of 3 objects in there. You'll see AA, AB, oh, sorry, 2 in this case. I didn't add the third one, but I could add a third one. So for list, it would be the same thing. I'm going to use an underscore to make it so it's not creating a variable. It's a silent function of how to do it. But I am going to use the range function to, in this case, no, let me actually use the number. So I'm going to go back to X, and then let's do 10. So I'm going to the variable dictionary, or variable, variable list. Sorry, getting tongue-tied. I'm going to append X to it. And it's just giving a warning that X has already been used somewhere else. Or in this case, it's expecting a string type, but this should still work. If not, we'll figure out the problem. So, as you'll see, hello, hello world, hello again, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then if I do the same thing for the dictionary, but in this case, I do want to use a for loop within range rather than a for each item in the dictionary, because we have to make a new dictionary key, which is going to be X, which equals X. So we're going to get the same issue expecting a certain type um, and stuff like that. But let's see if this works. Yep, there we go. We get 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, etc., etc., etc. So for that, you've seen ways of like messing with it. So as now we have, let's test the information that we had last time for variables and if statements. Let's go through all the new objects in uh, the list. Oop, getting tongue-tied again. Excuse me. Uh, so now inside of it, let's compare the list object that's in the list that we have created so far, which is equating to this one down here. The hello, hello world, hello again, and all that. And then let's actually see if it equals a string that we know. And then let's all, you don't need to make an else, but it's always good to have it to catch any information or print out information to help find errors, which if you can always, there's another way of doing it called try and expect, which I'll get into in another video, but I just want to have a way of catching it and do something, not in list. And then I'm going to do the same thing for each key and in oh, I do need to have the correct. Stop pressing random buttons. Let's see. Let's see. And then I'm going to add the string for, oh, sorry, dict object, dict item, dictionary item, and then I'm going to do the object, and then else print not in dictionary. And then if I print these now, it will print this one, then it will print this the length amount of time, which there is a way to count how many objects in there by a few different ways. One is using a length function, but I will get into that at a later point as well. For first things right now, I'm going to run this code and we'll see hello, and then we'll see a bunch of not in list and not in dictionary. Alright, let's go through the results. So hello, not in list, not in list, not in list, then a dictionary item A, and then not in dictionary. And this is one way to help modify or check with lists. So now there's a keyword for any list is to, oh, that's dictionary, not list. There's a whole bunch of different functions that are made for lists that you can modify them with. We use the append to add an object. We can also pop an object, which if we do pop, and then let me print the whole list while it's in the rotation, or sorry, the for loop, not the rotation, it should see it popped the item from it. Oh, sorry, I'm down. I'm looking at the wrong line. So it prints hello, then it has hello, and since it didn't, it should have popped the. Oh no, it pops the last item, not the first one. So it popped 9 out of the list, not the first one. And to be able to change that, you have to use the index for each object, which, as you can see up here, you can do the best way to explain it is in a for loop as well. I'm going to change this to an F string, which is called a formatted string, which helps you add um, variables into a string format using curly brackets. Um, you can also, there's other ways of doing it too. This is just the easiest way in Python um, to do it. So I'm going to use the formatted string, which is an F before quotes or double quotes. And then I'm going to say, I'm going to add this as index. And then I'm going to do X. And then when we print through, these all will be changed to index 0, index 1, because the index for each object starts at 0 unless specified otherwise to be able to go through objects. Because there's also what you can do is slice a list, which is a term of you can do with strings as well, and dictionaries. Anything that can be changed. Um, or I should say mutable compared to immutable, which one means changed, one means can't be changed. Um, so let me go through. So we have index 0, index 1, which these are not actually the correct index for each of these, but you'll see this is actually index 0. So, and then for slicing is now let's do for each variable, or I should do a list object again just to keep it the same. In the variable list that we have, and since we have modified it by popping the index 9 out of the list, I am going to now slice the list. I'm going to use 3 through 5. What this does is it grabs the first object within the list that is 3, then goes to 5, which if I print the list object, this should work correctly. If it doesn't, let's see. It prints index 0, index 1, which, let me do this real quick just to make it easier to read and see. So if we do index 0, index 1, index 2, this is index 3, this is index 4, and this is 5. So why it stops on 5? So it goes 3, 4, and then stops on 5. So it doesn't actually go to 5, it goes to before we want. So if I wanted index 2, I need to go to 6 for the index. Well, I have not seen this error. If you need to, look into it. Uh, it just, this is how I know one way of doing it. It's better, easier to describe in strings. So if I take the every indexed object and now slice that, let's do 3 through 5 again, because all of these should have more than 5 characters. and I slice it, we'll have EX, EX, because index 0, index 1, index 2, then index 3, 4, and then 5, and it stops before the space. So it gets index 3 and 4, and then stops. And the same should work for uh, the keys and the object, or item, I should say in more case, for the variable items, because this creates a list, or a way to iterate through some object, I should say, is a list. Let me just do the same one of 3 and 5, and then print the keys, and I should do the same thing here just to see the results easier. And so we should get the same results in 2-way. Oh, it's not scribable. Let me go through some testing real quick. Let me try it this way. So let's see if this works. I'm gonna comment this out real quick just to see. Nope, that doesn't work. So doesn't quite work what I was thinking, because I thought it would make a specific type of list, but let me mess around some more. Forgive me. Oh, I hit the curly brackets by accident. Fingers, work with me today. I'm gonna check the type. So it makes a type. So the type isn't a list, and dictionary items doesn't have a list correlated to them like some other of them. So if I did instead dictionary.keys, which will only grab the keys, which should return something similar to a list object, um, which won't have any dictionary items in it, but we can always get the dictionary items by variable dictionary, and then using square brackets again to get the key, which I have to space that, and then will be the dictionary key from the dictionary, which the dictionary key is that first object, or first string or first variable, which is this, and then this is the item or the object that's stored in that key. And so if I do the same thing but call this with that, it should display this because I'm not setting the key. I'm just grabbing that key to display it. Nope, keys are not actually listable as well, but there's a way around that. So I'm going to use the function or built-in, not function truly, but built-in feature called list, which converts certain objects to a list, which, there we go, 1, 1, 2, 2. And this the same principle, since we don't have a extra one or hello in here of C, it would be this would be the third index, so it will go 4, oh, 1, oh, sorry, 0, 1, 2, 3, and then 4, and then stops. And let me check it to make sure this works with items. I can always be wrong. Nothing wrong about being wrong. Just let's test. Sometimes messing around and breaking things is a good way to learn too. No, yeah, that works too. So it converts the dictionary items object into a list to be able to be scribed through, and in this case, illustrated through, illustrated, no, blah. iterated through. So that is many ways of doing list dictionaries, which we can also do for dictionaries as well. Like I'm going to go here. I'm going to go back one actually. Let me go back and go into this one, and then let me go variable dash dict slash function. And you can also pop or get keys as well, which this should pop the 9 as well out of. No, because pop in this case expects a key. So let's do the key that we had for the item. So let me print the variable. So now we should be able to pop the A out of the dictionary. So this will change as well. You can't do that either. So, and as I said, always an issue. If you have an issue, read the information. This just tries to inform you, make you smarter, make you better. This just tells you that the object's length has been changed. So what you would want to do instead of just popping the dictionary key is let's go up here and make a new dictionary, which equals an empty dictionary. And then for every object, so in this case at the very end, um, no, let's, we can, there's many ways of doing it. You can either do it at the start or at the bottom. Um, most cases, it's best to do it individual. So if there is an A in there, we're not going to add it to the new dictionary. Instead, we're just going to add the dictionary key, which equals the dictionary item, into this new list, or in this case, object. I'm switching terminologies and ways of saying things. My bad. Whatever best works for you. These other easiest ways to think of for dictionaries: key and then value. Um, value is definitely the right one, but I'm getting sidetracked. But this is just the object that goes into this key, or item that goes into that key. So now let's see how this works when we switch the this variable dictionary down here. I'm gonna change these to, actually I'll just comment these out, but copy, and then could have copied first, but either way, I'm gonna new, new. So now it should shift over by 1 because as A has been popped or removed, uh, we'll have 3 and, oh, 2 and 3. Since this is now index 0, this is index 1, this is index 2, and then this is the third index, fourth index, and then it stops before here. And then that's everything I can think of off the top of my head that I want to just talk about. Um, but there's a few things I want to look at and look into to see. So let me do this. Is this the one I was thinking of first? And then pop. There we go. So for dictionaries, like how lists have dot pop, dictionaries do have a dot pop, but you do need to specify the index for it, which is normally the key. But for pop item, it does pop the last item. So it popped, in this case, 9. Um, what other ones we want to look at real quick? Let's see. So some of the cooler ones like the sort, which makes it so you can change it in a particular way. Count, clear just removes it. I'm not mess with uh extend. Index is the same through of which index do you want. So like 0. So let me try that one real quick. So if I do variable list and then instead of the slicing, I'm gonna do index 3 through 5. Let me see. Does that index X is not on list, so that's not the right one. So value. So X not on list. What if I just index hello? There we go. So essentially, what the start and end are looking for is like the which position that the hello is in. So if I switch this to instead um, index 0, oh, I don't have the underscore, and I go through 0 through 5, it found the index of 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Oh, sorry, 0, 1, 2, 3. Ugh. Counting is hard, or at least counting an index and remembering it doesn't start at 1. Just think every object doesn't start at 1. Easiest way to remember. Just think first 0 came along, then the first came along, then the second. What am I talking about? I'm gone insane. but, but, as I've said and shown, there's a few ways of doing certain things. Nothing's incorrect. Um, if it causes a vulnerability in your code or a security issue, then it's not particularly wrong. It just can open you up to a lot of bad things happening, which mostly is intruders or etc., and stuff like that. So it's always best to make sure everything's secure. Nothing can be accidentally accessed unless you want it to. So I think that covers everything. Um, Look around, mess around, check these functions. There's a cool thing I've learned in PyCharm. If you press Control B, it can bring you to the built-in like Py uh, what was the word again? Not module. Py file is another way of saying it, but and since it's not written in Python, the real signature is unknown, but it does give you some description of what happens. So it returns, oh, it's removes and returns an item at the index. Default last raises an index error if the list is empty. So this is a good way to help with try and catch, which try he no hello expect, and then there's a bunch of errors you can go through, but you can always type error and then find the one you want. And but that will be for another video, but that's a good way to find information on what type of index error it is. Or as we've seen earlier, if I remove list from this and then run it, it says the dictionary is not scribable, which is a type error, which I could put a try block around this to catch any type errors and then give me some information of what could be going on at that line. So let me undo those. one more. Alright, so I think that's everything. So thank you. Have a wonderful day, you cool coders. So I had to do it again. And keep trying things, keep learning things. If you have an error, you didn't do anything wrong. You just may have mistyped, or not typed, misread some information in the sense of what needs to go where or how things need to be. Don't get discouraged by it. I have gone through a lot of coding being self taught that I've messed up and didn't realize it, and then I've run it and I'm like, what am I doing wrong? And then I noticed I just misspelled something or accidentally did a different um, a typing, which I used a little bit earlier, which I'll get into another video as well. So keep coding, and then let's make this base, not base. Let's enjoy this world and build a new world. And as I've said again, have a wonderful day.